The family of suicide victim. Q. I would like to ask in regards to the bereaved family of a suicide victim. Suicide is one of the main social issues that many people are concerned about, yet the attention to the bereaved family is not so much there. Every year, over 10,000 people are committing suicide in Korea, which has created 2 to 5 times more of families grieving. Many of them suffer from severe depression or even end up living unfortunate lives too. Please advise on how we can take a good care of the bereaved ones on a social scale. More people commit suicide when society is going through a rough time. This is part of our social environment. The environment of contemporary society is driving more people to commit suicide. This is consequence of our wrong living. People commit suicide when there is no path, a highly intelligent quality life when era is demanding such a life. When people lived in an era where they weren't properly fed due to scarcity of food, there was no suicide. Those were times when we lived low quality of living in which we were still striving to accomplish something. The main reason to commit suicide is that when one's mentality suffered to the extreme from lacking something that makes them want to die, this is kind of mental illness. Suicide is a kind of insanity. This is because when one's mentality is lacking in something, they chooses an extreme path. Here is question that what makes their mentality ill from lacking. There was no family or friends who would take good care of them. There was not enough care for the one who commits suicide. Should we be lamenting and grieving over the deceased? We already have a social norm that suicide is a sinful act. It is said in the Bible that people who commit suicide cannot go heaven and is sinful act to God, one's ancestors, and one's parents. Because our cultural custom considers suicide as a disgraceful act, the suicide victims are not respected, even their spirit. At this point, I will now teach you what the law of grand nature, righteous way, says about suicide. An act of suicide is in law of grand nature is that to manifest social problems, wrong way living, to the family of the deceased and to the society. What does this mean? Suicide is sacrificing her own life to awaken the people who are alive, that are living the wrong way. By sacrificing a child's life, it is giving us a momentum to look back on our lives and awaken us. A child whose love for parents and family is the greatest commit suicide. We have assignments. Why did my children have to give up on their life? Their family has to get head and heart around it as their study material. What happens if they don't? Their family will be entangled with this energy, followed by even more suffering in life. So the deceased who killed their own life sacrificed for us. It is for her family on a small scale. The rising suicide rate is a manifestation of a warning sign to our society. Since we have made our community a place hard to live with difficulties for our children, we are seeing our children's suicide is the warning sign to our society. Likewise, number of adults' suicide shows how much our people suffer from a low quality of energy living in this society. Such a social phenomenon occurs when there is a lot of intellectual classes in one society. Solving the suicide will become our responsibility as intellectuals. The more knowledge one has, the more responsibility one has to work for the world. Thus the man turns into a public citizen who serve the public good. Their concern is beyond the matter of their family from then on. While growing, you are nurtured and supported with the help of your family. When you are educated and become a public citizen, you must give benefits back to your society. Your heart and efforts should be towards benefiting your society broadly. That positive ripple effect will benefit your family as well. In the end, your parents will be acknowledged by heaven for raising you to become a public citizen. Their souls, too, will be purified through your performance. An intelligent cannot make oneself become an intellectual without sacrifice of the average working class. A genuine intelligence should acknowledge them and live to benefit them. An intellectual doesn't live their own private life. Whether it be a child suicides or adult suicides, we are seeing our nation is facing with unsolved difficulties. These social difficulties are emerging in this era because we have the intellectual class be able to handle these issues for them. Intellectuals should think about why do our kids suffer from a hopeless future BD choose to kill their own life? How disappointing were they with their parents that they ended up killing their own life? Those who cannot reflect on themselves are not intellectuals but are ignorant people. We need to take care of our people from now on. It is our job to take responsibility for the death of our children and the people in this nation. We should engrave the aching memory in our heart. Although it might be challenging at first, we must make an effort to bring forth the solutions that society needs and shift the paradigm of this society. We need to see hope for them. When hope is visible in their eyes, no one kills their own life. Analysis and summary. Current situation. Prevalence of suicide in Korea. Over 10,000 suicides occur annually in Korea, significantly impacting bereaved families who experience severe grief and depression. 2. Social environment. The modern social environment, characterized by high demands and expectations for a high-quality life, contributes to the increase in suicides. 2. Unlike in the past, where scarcity led to a focus on survival, the present era sees mental suffering from unmet psychological needs. Causes of suicide. Mental illness. Suicide is described as a form of mental illness or insanity, arising when individuals experience extreme psychological suffering due to unmet needs. 2. Lack of support. A significant factor leading to suicide is the absence of sufficient care and support from family and friends. Social and cultural context. Stigma of suicide. In many cultures, including those influenced by religious teachings like Christianity, suicide is seen as a sinful and disgraceful act. This stigma further alienates the bereaved families. 2. Law of grand nature. This concept suggests that suicide is a manifestation of social problems and a sacrifice meant to awaken society to its wrongdoings and lack of support. Role of intellectuals. 1. Responsibility. Intellectuals have a duty to address social issues, including suicide. 1. The more knowledge and education one has, the greater their responsibility to contribute to the public good. 2. Public citizenship. Educated individuals should strive to benefit society, not just their families. 2. By doing so, they honor their upbringing and contribute to societal well-being. 3. Reflection and action. Intellectuals must reflect on the root causes of societal despair and work towards creating a supportive environment that offers hope and reduces the incidence of suicide. Proposed solutions. On community responsibility, society must acknowledge its role in creating an environment that drives individuals to suicide. 1. There needs to be a collective effort to provide support and care for those in need. 2. Creating hope. Efforts should focus on restoring hope and providing visible pathways to a better future, as the presence of hope is crucial in preventing suicide. Recommendations. Increase awareness and support. Raise awareness about the struggles of bereaved families and provide them with comprehensive support, including mental health services and community outreach. 2. Reduce stigma. Work towards changing cultural perceptions of suicide to reduce stigma and encourage open discussions about mental health. 3. Engage intellectuals. Mobilize educated individuals to take an active role in addressing social issues and supporting community initiatives aimed at reducing suicide rates. Or policy changes. Advocate for policies that improve mental health services, provide economic support to vulnerable populations, and create a more inclusive and supportive social environment. 5. Community building. Foster strong community networks that offer emotional and practical support to individuals and families in crisis. By addressing these areas, society can better support the bereaved families of suicide victims and work towards reducing the incidence of suicide.